respect to these issues, never mind the very clear legal code that needs to be followed that, aligns with what the voters asked for, which is this is the law, it needs to be followed, and if anybody thinks it's unconstitutional, then why is every person who has the ability to give us access to the court, why are they all trying to block us from getting access to that courtroom? I have said this repeatedly. It is, our reality that we could get a judge who decides to favor the legislature, to favor Beacon Hill, who could rule against the people of this Commonwealth. But we could get a judge who sees that the people of this Commonwealth have voted for this and that this is the clear law, and they could vote and they could support this and rule in favor of the people. We're taking a risk in going to court as well, but that is the place where disagreement regarding the law and issues of the Constitution are supposed to be adjudicated. That is the place to settle disputes. But we have the top law enforcement officer in this Commonwealth, the Attorney General, and the Attorney General's office, blocking us, saying they will not approve us getting access to an impartial hearing. They will not approve us appearing in court to fight this fight on behalf of the residents of the Commonwealth, even if we have our own attorney, because the Attorney General doesn't want to take this case. So that is an obstruction of our ability to access the justice system. It's a really big issue, and we are essentially in a place where we're having to battle just to get our constitutional right to an impartial hearing recognized, with the top leaders in this state trying to block our access to, again, just the judicial process and being able to get a ruling on this matter.
That's what really bothers me, is that we as voters went through that process of getting educated on this and voting for it. You have all these volunteers. I saw the volunteers, a lot of women in front of the supermarkets collecting the signatures. All this time and energy spent on this, and the AG, she's not doing her job. She basically said it was constitutional then, not constitutional now. You're calling her bluff. You're saying, let's find out if it's constitutional. Let's get an attorney and take this to court. And they're afraid. What are they hiding? Why do you think they don't want you to audit the State House? What are they hiding, you think? Because there's something up here.
Clearly, they're afraid of basic transparency and accountability, Mike, because the reality is as much as they claim that we are trying to audit topics that are, salacious in nature or personal in nature, because that's how they're getting out of this right now with their friends and their supporters, is by saying, the auditor's office, they're trying to cross the line or what have you. We are actually only currently trying to look at financial documents like receipts, for example, about how taxpayer dollars were spent, and state contracts, procurement documents. We hear a lot, and we've talked a lot in the auditor's office about no-bid contracts going out to folks, right, where the process wasn't followed in different state agencies, and we let those agencies know that they did not follow the law or they did not follow protocol, and that they need to do so moving forward, so there's a fair and transparent bidding process, for example, with state contracts. We are only trying to look at those types of issues that are very much a matter of public record in every other state entity who actually subjects themselves to the public records law, or I should say who is subjected to the public records law by the legislature. But because the legislature also exempts themselves from the public records law, we can't get access to those documents that should actually be accessible not just to our office, but to all of you, to every single resident who wants access. So, essentially what they're saying is an audit for thee, but not for me, and that they're going to make rules and laws for everybody else to follow, such as public records laws, but they themselves are not going to follow the law that they impose on everybody else. So that actually brings me to another point, Mike, that I want to make sure that I'm raising. We are working on some public records reform issues and putting that out there to folks for support. There are going to be some valid questions that are out there for legislative reform, public records reform, and what have you. And I hope folks will give that some consideration because, yes, they have been ignoring the current law, but we need to make sure that we're vigilant, that we're steadfast, and that we are not allowing them to cause us to be so demoralized that we just give up. We have to fight harder. We have to push back, and we need to stand together. We need to stand up to what's happening up on Beacon Hill, and if we're going to see any change.
Thank you so much. This is State Senator Diana DiZoglio. We're talking about records requests. I want to get more into that after the break. Can you stay for just a few minutes, and we'll bring you back for a second segment here to follow up on that?
Sure.
We'll be right back. This is Mike Crawford on the Grace Curley Show. We'll be right back with State Auditor Diana DiZoglio.
This is the Grace Curley Show.
Welcome back, folks, to the Grace Curley Show. My name is Mike Crawford. I am filling in for Grace today. We've got a great guest on the telephone line right now, Massachusetts State Auditor Diana DiZoglio. We were just talking about FOIA reform, public records requests. Is that collect? You said something about collecting signatures. What is that reform? What are you hoping to accomplish with that one?
Yeah, so essentially what we did for the audit law that was passed by all of you in the last election cycle was we had to get 75,000 certified signatures from residents across the Commonwealth, voters, in order to get that to appear on the ballot. And you said yes, you said you wanted that to appear on the ballot, and then you voted for the measure to the tune of 72%. What we're trying to do now is to try to get public records reform to the ballot to make sure that folks have the opportunity to say that the governor's office and the legislature should be subject to the public records law, just like every other government entity is subject to the public records law. When you call a city or town, they are legally required to give you access to documents that are matters of public record, things such as their financial transactions and receipts, things such as their state contracts, for example, or their contracts at the local level or contracts with private vendors. And they're required to give that to you. So is every single state entity when you call their entity and you ask for those records. The legislature and the governor's office actually have exempted themselves from having to be subjected to those same laws. So that's a big reason, Mike, why a lot of people are so upset about the fact that the audit is being blocked as well, because we actually are frequently ranked by most good government groups as the least transparent and the least accessible state legislature and state government in the entire nation, because we are the only state in the nation where the judicial branch, the legislative branch, and the governor's office all claim exemptions from the public records law. So we have a lot of work to do here just with basic accessibility into what's happening with our tax dollars. And this is going to be a measure that hopefully will get to the ballot, but it won't get to the ballot without your support. So we do need to collect signatures and get that on the ballot to make those records that I'm trying to access, that they're denying to my office, to make those same records accessible to every single member of the public. You deserve access. It's your money that the legislature is spending. It's your hard-earned tax dollars that are being spent without transparency that you deserve. And if you're interested in getting involved in that, please shoot me an email at diana@dianadizoglio.com, and I'm happy to connect you with the campaign who is running that ballot question.
Perfect. I hope it gets passed. I felt like we've needed that for decades here in Massachusetts.
Follow Grace on X at @G_Curley.
This hour of the Grace Curley Show is brought to you in part by Moby Dick's in Wellfleet. For 40 years and counting, they continue to provide the freshest oysters, fried fish, and lobster salad. Online at mobys.com.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show. My name is Mike Crawford. I am filling in for Grace. Today's poll question is brought to you by J.J. Manning Auctioneers. Whether residential, commercial, or land, J.J. Manning can get your property sold now. To learn more, contact Charlie Gill at 800-521-0111 or jjmanning.com. With over 16,000 sales and satisfied clients, you can be the next one. The poll question today is about the audit of the legislature. Do you want to see the audit? Do you want that to happen? It seems like everyone is voting yes on that. How many, Jared, do we have anybody that's voted no?
If you want to vote in today's poll question, you can go to gracecurleyshow.com. And it is, do you want an audit of the Massachusetts state legislature? It is 99% yes, 1% no. We have had one no vote. So we know at least one state legislator listens to the show.
Is it Governor Maura Healey, you think?
You know what? It could. She probably has listening people.
Or the AG. The AG, we were talking about her quite a bit today. Jeez. I mean, you were listening to that too, right, Jared? I mean, that just, as a citizen, it bugs me that they wasted all of our time where the AG had to decide whether this was constitutional. She approved the language. They gathered signatures. We voted on it. And then now she's saying, oh, now that you voted on it, now I'm uncomfortable. Now it's not legal. It's not constitutional. I mean, it's just wild. The way that things run in the state.
Yeah, but part of this reminds me of when Governor Healey used the emergency preamble on the gun legislation that everybody overwhelmingly, voted to put on the ballot and signed to, get fixed. And then she's like, well, it's an emergency now. It's like, well, no, you can't. It's not just an emergency because you don't like what the voters have voted for. It's not unconstitutional that you don't like that the voters want to see your corruption and graft.
I know, right? It's like we don't like this, and now it's unconstitutional. This could endanger us. We don't want the citizens looking into how we're spending their money. We don't want them to have access to our emails. I mean, that is coming. That when she mentioned that ballot initiative that they're going to double down and do exactly what I've been crying about for decades now, that we can't get the governor's emails. We can't get our local state rep emails. We can get all the local police. The local town police have to give us everything as journalists. But these legislature that look at their budget, billions of dollars, and they have no oversight from the people. So, I'm sorry we ran out of time with the state auditor. That was a great interview. I want to ask her a bunch more questions. One of the big ones I want to ask her, is she going to run for governor? Because I feel like people would have some interest in that. I think she is refreshing. She is different than the rest. People can feel it. They can sense it with her. And she's very popular. I mean, I've been on the street with her. I remember one day in Haverhill, we were both at a function together, and I couldn't believe how many folks from the DPW and the local police and the firefighters and the restaurant owners, everybody loves Diana DiZoglio. So I think she would give them a good challenge up on Beacon Hill if she ever decides to run for governor. I think she wants to find out what's going on at the legislature first, up at the State House to find out where that money's going. So if you want to support her, she gave an email address. You can get involved in this. There's also the website, too. If you want to know much more about what she's doing, just Google it. Mass State Audit. They have every single audit. One of the other ones I wanted to discuss today, obviously, was the Cannabis Control Commission. There's some controversy over there. Also, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. She's done an audit of them recently. You can look at every single piece of audit information available on that website. I would suggest people dig in on that because that's the stuff they don't want us to talk about. They don't want us to see it. You can see what they're doing to her with this ballot initiative that passed, that became law. Now they're saying it's unconstitutional. There's a lot of that in Massachusetts. That's why someone on social media was just calling me the local guy. That's what I am. I'm all about what's going on in Massachusetts. I've been a resident in my entire life. I went to state college here. I love Massachusetts, but we need much more oversight, transparency at the state government level. It's amazing how progressives always pretend that Massachusetts is Shangri-La, but she said it today. She's a Democrat, state auditor. We are the least transparent state when it comes to government. We don't know enough about what's going on at the State House. They don't want us to know. They are hiding everything that they're doing up there. They don't want us to know. As much as Massachusetts folks, we kind of hold our nose at Florida. Florida has much more transparency on the state level. Red state has much more transparency. So we have to do a lot more work here in Massachusetts, and that's what I like to focus on. There's also another scandal going on at the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission. It's something that I've been covering for years. I kind of eased up on it more recently when I was covering the Karen Reed stuff, but it's heating up today. And Shannon O'Brien, the Cannabis Control Chair, is someone that I've frequently spoken to about the issues of the Cannabis Control Commission. And she's someone that actually returns the calls of the citizens. She's actually someone that cared. She's actually somebody that made public statements about what was going on at the Cannabis Control Commission in terms of the dysfunction, the lack of transparency, and kind of like almost fraud, too, that's going on there. There's a lot of bad stuff that's been going on at the Cannabis Control Commission. Shannon O'Brien was brought in as a reformer, the chairwoman of the Cannabis Control Commission. 2 years ago, they kicked her out. They suspended her. A year ago, they fired her. And recently, just this last week, she was reinstated by a judge. And if you look into this, they called her a racist. They threw the race card at her because she was talking too much truth. She was exposing what was going on at the Cannabis Control Commission. It's one of the things I wanted to maybe talk to the auditor about today, but we did run out of time. There's so much to talk about in Massachusetts. We actually don't have enough time in a 2-hour show. That's how much fraud and lack of disclosure, lack of transparency. But if you look at this, the Cannabis Control Commission specifically, I am very happy that Shannon O'Brien's back. She is a voice of reason. She has done this over and over again. This is why she was brought into the Cannabis Control Commission, to clean it up. And I think if you're state treasurer, Deborah Goldberg, you have to be embarrassed because you're the one who fired her. You're the one who ignored the voices of the community, of the citizens, of the workers. The workers were backing Shannon O'Brien. The workers in the Cannabis Control Commission, in the cannabis industry in Massachusetts, have been complaining about the bad working conditions and the dangerous working conditions. On my show, it was predicted by cannabis workers that someone would die at a cannabis facility, at a cultivation site. And somebody did die. She was 27 years old. The workers, they actually predicted it on my show. Within 2 years, someone had passed away. Her name was Lorna McMurray. And the only one that cared about it, as far as I'm concerned, ever at the Cannabis Control Commission was Shannon O'Brien. And because she cared too much, because she wanted to fix and correct the ship over at the Cannabis Control Commission, she was booted out. She was fired. She was slimed. She was called a racist. She's not racist. A judge ruled that she is not racist. And he gave her a job back and back pay, and she's back, and I'm excited. I want to see what's next on the State Cannabis Control Commission. I also want to see what's next with Diana DiZoglio we talked about, with this audit of the State House, and hopefully the freedom of information that we get on what's actually going on with our State House and who's in charge over there. But if you want to call in today, too, I'm brand new to this. If you want to give me some tips, you want to tell me what I'm doing right or wrong, I'm going to use Howie Carr because I like Howie. I steal a lot from him. I didn't come here to be made sport of. I almost screwed that one up. I didn't come here to be made sport of. But you can have a little sport with me today, just today, because this is my first day. 844-500-4242 is the number. We'll take calls. Well, there's also the text line, 617-213-1066 or 617-213-1066. I'm going to have to memorize those phone numbers. That's another one. That's the text line. But if you want to call, if you want to give me any tips, anything you want to talk about as well today, I'm open game. We also going to have Djuna Perkins on. She's going to be live in the studio at the top of the hour. She's running for district attorney against Michael Morrissey. And you may have seen the price sheet came out. The total cost to prosecute Karen Reed, the most expensive OUI conviction probably in the history of Massachusetts, it's out. We have all the documentation. Howie Carr just wrote a new column about it in the Boston Herald. We're going to ask her all about that today when she's live in the studio. Djuna Perkins running for district attorney of Norfolk County. Looking forward to having her in. If you have a question for her, you want to ask something, 844-500-4242. We definitely will take calls if we get any. 617-213-1066 is the text line. Again, the poll question. Has anyone else voted for it, Jared? Are we still at one person?
We are still at one person. They say there's always one person who likes to just kind of troll, but no, we're over 100 yes votes and we are at one no vote. So text in 617-213-1066. Who do you think that one no vote is?
Sometimes I think it's clumsy fingers, because I've done that on Twitter and you vote for the wrong poll question. So it's like you said, I think it's either someone who's in office or clumsy fingers. I think someone meant to vote yes and they voted no. But we're live. This is the Grace Curley Show. Again, my name is Mike Crawford. It's a great pleasure to be here. I just want to quote a couple things. Court rules fired CCC Chair Shannon O'Brien must be reinstated. That's one of the headlines that I'm looking at right now. And this happened on Tuesday, and she's getting her job back. We're not sure when. I thought one of the most telling quotes, though, was right at the end of this story. This is a GBH story I'm quoting right here, and this is from Goldberg. Goldberg is the treasurer who basically decided to suspend and then fire Shannon O'Brien for what she alleged was racism. Judge decided that it wasn't racist and reinstated Shannon O'Brien, gave her full back pay. And this is what Goldberg says. I don't think under any circumstances the kind of behavior Chair O'Brien demonstrated should be tolerated, Goldberg said in a statement. I do not accept that harassment and bullying are just trivial issues in the workplace. Frankly, we think this judge got it wrong. I think Deb Goldberg got it wrong. I think Deb Goldberg wouldn't return our calls. I called Deb Goldberg when this went down. I said, I got a lot of information that you should probably know about. What's going on in this Cannabis Control Commission? Deborah Goldberg didn't call us back. The mother of Lorna McMurray, the woman who died, the 27-year-old that I talked about, that died at True Leaf. True Leaf got a huge fine about this death. This woman should not have died at the workplace. They had a lot of signs that there was a problem. The Cannabis Control Commission covered it up. It was only with my reporting that anyone knew about it, and that's how Shannon O'Brien found out about it. And the Boston Globe said, did you see this news? She made a statement. They didn't like that. They didn't. The powers that be at the Cannabis Control Commission didn't like the fact that Shannon O'Brien wanted transparency, that Shannon O'Brien wanted people to know what was going on in this new commission. And since then, everything that Shannon O'Brien warned about has come true. Everything. The backroom deals, the lying. People have left. People have been pushed out that should have been pushed out. Shannon O'Brien was the only one telling the truth. And she's back now. And Deb Goldberg, the treasurer, she's not happy about it. Deb Goldberg, maybe you should have called back Lorna McMurray's mom. Maybe you should have called back some of your union friends even. It's so funny because I talked to a lot of these union reps and said, Deb Goldberg is pro-union. She's going to stand with the workers. She didn't stand with the workers. Deb Goldberg, Labor Day, is posting about Happy Labor Day. She does not stand with the workers. You know who stood with the workers is Shannon O'Brien. So I am very happy that Shannon O'Brien is back, and I'm glad that we have someone at the Cannabis Control Commission who's going to tell the truth. And specifically, some of the things that the auditor has pointed out. The auditor just pointed out that the Cannabis Control Commission hasn't been collecting all the fees, the fines. They haven't followed up on anything. We are going to take a break. My name is Mike Crawford. I'm a little fired up about this local stuff that's going on right now in Massachusetts. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back. And like I said, after the hour, when we come back at 1 p.m., 1:05 p.m. We're going to be with the candidate for Norfolk County DA, Djuna Perkins. We'll be right back. This is the Grace Curley Show. Mike Crawford. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Watch the show live. Rumble.com/The Grace Curley Show.
Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show. It is Mike Crawford. I am hosting today, filling in for Grace Curley. Having a great time. I thank Jared behind the board today. He's been helping me immensely. My first day, like I said, if you got any comments, 844-500-4242, or the text line 617-213-1066. We had a couple texts come in, right?
We did, yeah. So this is from 508. Congratulations on your first day, Mike. You're doing great. 617 says, you're doing great, Mike. I knew you were a natural. You sound great, too. Keep going. Big old dog. I don't know if that's who is saying it or they're calling you big old dog.
I'll take it. I mean,
but I don't know if
they're all nice. I saw a couple not so nice on the social media, so I'll take what I can get. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a lot of fun to be here and just enjoying being here on the Grace Curley Show. It's always fun to be a guest, but to be asked to host today.
Yeah, we do have another 508 that says the no vote in the poll question is Taylor or Grace trolling.
Oh, definitely. That's a good one. I think it might be. I think Grace or Taylor. I got to say congratulations to Grace and Taylor. They both had children recently, new children. They're very exciting here at the network. And
so like Aaron was filling in said, we're single-handedly taking on Elon Musk's challenge to repopulate here at the We Got Radio Network.
That's it. I love children. I love babies, especially when they're not your own. Like, so if they need anyone to hold a baby, I'll definitely hold a baby for them. I love it. It's congratulations to them, Taylor and Grace, and thank you to them too for inviting me over to the network and to be here on the regular on the Grace Curley Show. Much appreciated. It was very exciting to the first guest have Diana DiZoglio. We already have somebody live in the studio that everyone is amped up to speak to and hear from today. Djuna Perkins is here. We're going to speak to her after the break. We're going to have maybe like the full hour. So if you have any questions, comments, send them into the text line, 617-213-1066, or call in 844-500-4242. We'll be right back with Djuna Perkins running for Norfolk County DA.
Hi, it's Silver Dave.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
You either have grace or you don't.
Read Grace's work in The Spectator and see her recommended reading at gracecurleyshow.com.
She's a nasty woman. She's a really nasty woman.
Now, here's the millennial with the mic,
Grace Curley.
Grace Curley.
Grace Curley. Grace Curley.
Grace Curley, host of the Grace Curley Show.
Grace Curley.
But I've always said that the most talented people, and this man may be the most of all, Michael Crawford is being honored.
Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show. This is Mike Crawford, and I'm very happy we have another guest, and this time live in the studio. We have Djuna Perkins. She's an attorney. She is running for Norfolk County District Attorney against Michael Morrissey. Welcome to the show, Djuna Perkins.
Thank you so much, Mike. So nice to be here.
And why did you decide to run for District Attorney against Michael Morrissey?
So I've spent 32 years of my entire legal career helping families throughout Massachusetts on the worst days of their lives. First as a prosecutor for 10 years in the Suffolk County DA's office and in the Attorney General's office, and then for the last 20 years in private practice. And I am just horrified and I can't even say, speechless about all of the avalanche of errors and mistakes that have been made by the DA.
And we've been mentioned this earlier in the show, but Howie just wrote up a new column, Boston Herald, about the cost, the amount of money spent on the prosecution of Karen Reed, over $1.4 million. Some crazy numbers coming out here. And I want to say I have to thank Corey Hopkins. She's an attorney who has been filing lawsuits to get this information. What are your thoughts on this? Because I know that you're aware of the expenses. What do you think about the cost that the amount of money, 1.4 plus million, most expensive prosecution for an OUI probably ever? What do you think about that, Djuna Perkins?
It's absolutely insane. So as I've said before, the entire budget for the district attorney's office is $14.3 million. Most of that goes to salaries for 144 full-time employees. What remains is only $2.7 million for all operating expenses, including, the rent, the lights, the equipment for all those employees, and direct case expenses. So to have spent $1.4 million on one trial, on the retrial alone, is more than half of an annual budget, of the annual operating budget. And that, also, I should say that among those emails that people have that obtained from the district attorney and posted online, there's a letter from the DA to the legislature asking for another $1 million because Karen Reed expenses are high. And I think I read in the newspaper an article saying that what they actually got was an extra $500,000. So in addition to that, you spent more than half of your operating budget on this one trial. Then you asked for more money to help pay for it. And meanwhile, we have 10 unsolved homicides in Norfolk County. We have some really brutal murders in Norfolk County that, between Anna Walsh and Sandra Birchmore. What if we had spent all of that money on those cases? That is what I find most horrifying of all. I mean, at heart, I'm still a public servant, even though I've been long gone out of the government. And this is just not a situation that I have ever seen before. And it really, really horrified me. And I really am of the belief that when you see a problem and you can fix it, you have an obligation to get out there and do it. So that's what I'm going to do.
And how can people find out more information about your campaign too?
Oh, well, of course, I have a website, junaperkins.com. There's also a Facebook page, an Instagram page. Those are, and my phone number, which is on the campaign website too.
And Djuna, for people who aren't aware, it's DJUNA. So Djuna Perkins, DJUNA, Perkins.com.
Yes.
And you mentioned, the cost of this persecution, whatever we call it, of Karen Reed. It just went on and on and on. I mean, some of the expenses, there was one listing where they were researching the wife, her social postings of one of the witnesses for Karen Reed. I mean, is there any defense of that? Is that reasonable? Does that stuff ever happen? Do you think that?
I mean, look, if you decide that a case is a major priority and that, the community really needs justice on this particular thing, then maybe it justifies it. But this was not that case. It's so clear that this was not that case. And the job of a lawyer, the job of district attorney, is not to tell people what they want to hear. It's to tell them what they need to know. And you have to know, as a government official who's responsible for all this money and also responsible for making the community trust the government and that it's working, you have an obligation to know when to fold. And the fact that District Attorney Morrissey did not know when to fold is what is really most shocking, because it suggests that all of these decisions are based on ego, on satisfying his own reputation, maintaining his own reputation rather than justice for the community.
Absolutely seemed a lot about defending himself and that ego, and just some of the emails that we've seen. You can tell this guy took this whole thing personally. It was all about him and the media attention. One of the things you just mentioned is to give the hard answers even when we don't want to hear them, because we need to know.
Right.
One of our previous, interviews that we did with you on YouTube, we had talked about the McAlberts and whether or not you would prosecute them. Some people didn't like your answer.
I know.
I liked it because I felt like it was truthful and it's something that we need to hear. So let's just rehash this. What would you do if you were in office day one with the McAlberts? Would you prosecute them? Would you press charges against them? how would we get justice for John O'Keefe?
So, I mean, the unfortunate truth of the matter is that because the investigation was so poor and because of the trials against Karen Reed, no one can effectively be prosecuted for the murder of John O'Keefe anymore. Because if they are prosecuted, they get to use as their defense that somebody else did it. It was Karen Reed because, look, the government tried her twice. They thought that she did it, so that's who did it. And so effectively, you have reasonable doubt right there.
Yeah, that's why you don't press charges when
Correct.
You can't get a conviction, right?
Absolutely. You have, being a lawyer is an art, not a science. You have to be able to gauge all these risks and strengths in your case and be able to make decisions that way that serve the community the best.
And you've also mentioned Sandra Birchmore today. There's a story that you also told us previously about what Michael Morrissey had said at a forum in Quincy, Massachusetts.
Yes.
About the death of Sandra Birchmore. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So this was where I was giving my stump speech, which in which I talk about Sandra Birchmore and the failure to investigate and prosecute her murder, which was the thing that kind of tipped me over the edge to decide to run. And in response, the district attorney said, I believe, words to the effect of, I believe that the medical examiner's decision of suicide is going to be supported by the evidence. And now this is after not only her family in their wrongful death lawsuit had hired an incredibly famous independent medical examiner, Michael Baden, or Baden, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but also after the feds indicted the person who they believed to be the murderer, and had a second independent medical examiner. So 2 independent medical examiners, highly qualified, including the federal government, have decided that this was a murder, not a suicide. And the district attorney continues to say that he believes that this is a suicide. The other interesting thing about this is in the John O'Keefe case, the medical examiner there found that the cause of death the manner of death was inconclusive. And so, but the district attorney proceeded with the murder charge. But here, in the Sandra Birchmore case, he has no problem supporting the conclusion of the medical examiner because apparently it's convenient to him because he failed to recognize that it was a murder in the first place.
Yeah, it's amazing that he would still stick to that he still...
It's completely self-serving. It is not the act of a public servant.
When he made that statement in front of the public in I guess it was the Quincy Democrats, did the audience seem to react or even understand what he was trying to say there?
I don't know that it was very awkward because somebody in the audience had just heckled me, so it was very quiet. You could hear a pin drop. It was like, yeah. So I think that there was no public reaction. No.
Wow. Djuna Perkins is running for district attorney against Michael Morrissey. What has the response been on the campaign trail? Because I see you out there. You're going to the local forums and the parades and all of that. What has the response been when people find out that you're challenging Michael Morrissey right now?
I mean, literally phenomenal. Even in Quincy. So I was just in Quincy the other night for their preliminary election. And the second I said what I was running for, they said, "Oh, thank God, get him out." Wow. And that's in his hometown.
So even in the stronghold of Quincy, where he's from, he's right. Not.
People are really. I have been a little bit shocked at how upset people are, but not surprised because, even as a former public servant, as a former assistant district attorney, I know that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So it took me a while to really start questioning things, but people are right that this is not normal.
Yeah, it's not normal. And the election is a year away. So you're starting early. Next September, I believe, is the primary. Is that
yes,
right? Okay.
Yes.
So next September is the primary. I know that looks like you've received some local endorsements. Have you received any endorsements that really kind of matter from electeds right now?
Well, so I don't know if you would count them officially as endorsements, but I certainly have some significant contributions. So Ralph Martin, the former district attorney of Suffolk County, who I worked for, he is a max donor. So is Andrew Cabral, the former sheriff of Suffolk County. Rasan Hall, who ran for district attorney in Plymouth County, who was one of my colleagues in the Dorchester District Court. Jerry Leone, the former Middlesex district attorney, is a donor. Susan Harrington, who just won
in Canton,
is hosting a house party for me.
Wow.
So yeah, I would say I have a lot of great support from all over the county, and I think that's really important too. I mean, this is a big county. We have 27 different towns, and they really range in the type of places each one. From cities like Quincy to more rural places and suburban places. With other issues, there's farms in this county, and I think it's really important that to recognize how different and diverse we are.
Excellent. We were speaking to Djuna Perkins. She's running for Norfolk County District Attorney. JunaPerkins.com is the website. You're going to stick around for the next segment? We're going to take a break and pay some bills, but we'll be right back with Djuna Perkins for District Attorney. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want answered, 617-213-1066 is the text line. We'll be right back.
To save 20% right now before June 30th. Again, that's allfamilypharmacy.com/Howie and use code Howie20.
This is the Grace Curley Show.
Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show. Happy Friday, everyone. I am enjoying this. This is so much fun. I hope you're having fun today. I hope you're having a great Friday like we are over at the Grace Curley Show. We've got a great guest here, Djuna Perkins. She's running for district attorney. If you want to find out more information, JunaPerkins.com. It's DJUNA, JunaPerkins.com. Djuna, you recently filed a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information request of the district attorney's office. We've gotten a lot of good information recently from these FOIA requests. I'm interested in hearing what you filed and what you're hoping to get out of this. What did you file with the district attorney's office of Norfolk County?
So I filed a request the other day for records of all null process filed in Norfolk County since District Attorney Morrissey became district attorney, and I'll explain what that is. So the district attorney has this kind of magical tool that they can use up until trial, where they can dismiss a case at any point in time. The purpose of it is so that you sort of clean up the docket, in the sense that you realize that a case that was initially charged actually doesn't have the evidence that you thought it did, or a witness disappears or dies or something like that. So you can dismiss the case ahead of time. So that's the good use for it. But you don't have to be specific about the reason that you're filing it. So it's also where any kind of political favoritism can work its little magic. And so what I want to know, and I've already heard on the campaign trail, I mean, one of the beauties of going all around is that people start telling you stories of their own experiences. And so I've heard of multiple cases in which that happened, that null process were filed that appear to have been for political reasons. And I think that is just out of control. And that is what we have to do. That's the kind of thing we have to look at to fix this.
Wow.
So I want him to produce all the null process that he has filed.
And it'd be interesting to see if anyone's made a campaign donation that got not prosecuted after the fact.
Right. Yeah. I mean, sure. Anything. Anything that isn't justified by the facts and the evidence is certainly up for examination.
Speaking of campaign donations, it's also been noted by my friend, Attorney Mark Bedrow. He notes quite often the way there's a pay-to-play culture within Norfolk County DA's office, where prosecutors like Adam Lally and some of the Mass State Police officers themselves have made campaign donations to Michael Morrissey. Employees of Michael Morrissey make campaign donations to him. Would you state right now that you won't take any campaign donations from employees of yours if you are hired as district attorney.
Absolutely. That is something that when I was in the AG's office under Scott Harshbarger and in the DA's office under Ralph Martin, neither of them would accept contributions from employees. And so that is how I was raised as a prosecutor. And no, I would definitely not.
Why do you think that's important not to take those donations from employees for people that maybe don't know?
Because the focus of the assistant district attorneys should be on just doing the job as best they can in light of all the appropriate factors that they should be considering. Politics should play no role. As I think Scott Harshbarger used to say, leave the politics to me. You do the job and do what's right.
Excellent. This is Djuna Perkins. It's JunaPerkins.com. Check out her website, support her. If you like what you hear, you want to replace Michael Morrissey, consider a donation. Thank you so much for being here. Djuna Perkins for District Attorney.
Hi, it's Silver Dave at Local Silver Mint in Ware, New Hampshire, where we have the best selection and the lowest prices on the most wonderful items in the world: gold, silver, and platinum. This year, gold has already gone up 30%, silver 25%, and platinum 50%. And it's just getting started. If you haven't already been stacking precious metals, it's time to get going, and we can help. If you are new, don't worry. Our knowledgeable sales staff will help you select the best items to accomplish your goals. If you are already an experienced stacker, then you will love our selection and prices. Additionally, try our very own silver bits, perfect for barter, and just 49 cents over spot, made in New Hampshire, USA. Thanks for listening, and see you soon at Local Silver Mint in Ware, New Hampshire. Stack it up!
What is the most common question that J.J. Manning auctioneers get asked? Why would someone ever auction their real estate? Why don't they just list it for sale? When you sign on with J.J. Manning auctioneers, you're listing your property for an auction sale. At a J.J. Manning auction, you bypass the exhausting negotiations and you bypass all the weasel clauses. You sell your property as is and contingency free. This is especially huge in Massachusetts, since all traditional listings will soon be required to have a home inspection before closing. For the straightforward, no-nonsense thinker, like all my listeners, auction is the most efficient way to sell your valuable real estate. In a J.J. Manning auction, you set the terms, you sell contingency-free, and you pick the day it closes. Here are some upcoming auctions from Howie listeners. September 17th, a home in the Oak Bluff section of the Vineyard. So if you have commercial, residential, or land to sell, contact Charlie Gill at 800-521-0111 or visit jjmanning.com. Call Charlie today and mark it sold.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
Meet the experts. I spoke with what you might call an expert in the art of relaxation. He's Dennis Swords of the Follansbee Inn in North Sutton, New Hampshire. Take a listen. What do you most enjoy about being an innkeeper?
I enjoy the freedom it gives me to be creative. I do the cooking. The guests do love the breakfast, corned beef hash. I corn my own beef. Guests really love the angel biscuits and describe them as a mix between a biscuit and a croissant.
Tell us about the area around North Sutton.
No box stores, old-fashioned bookstores, coffee houses, good restaurants, several mountains in the area, beautiful scenery. We are on the lake with our private dock. We have canoes and kayaks for the guests. It's a part of New Hampshire that is relatively undiscovered.
Have there been any historical guests of interest?
One that you'll like, Bernhard Goetz.
The New York subway shooter?
He escaped to Follansbee Inn.
Meet the experts with Howie Carr. Available now wherever you get your Howie Carr Show podcasts. Dr. Mark DiStefano is back, along with his chief of surgery, Dr. Thomas Brand. Together, they formed Northeast Hair Restoration and have pioneered a new groundbreaking procedure called Precision Follicular Extraction, or PFE. The PFE is becoming the gold standard and the most sought-after hair transplant procedure in all of New England. Imagine no shaving, no scalpels, no stitches, no linear scarring, while preserving the natural appearance of your existing hair and delivering transformational results. And just for our listeners, with every PFE procedure, you will get a free laser cap just like the one I use. That's a $3,000 value, free. The laser cap has been shown to speed up the healing process and help the hair grow faster. Call Northeast Hair Restoration today for your free consultation at 800-208-HAIR. That's 800-208-HAIR. 800-208-HAIR. Or go to pfehair.com.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Welcome back. It's the Grace Curley Show. My name is Mike Crawford. I am filling in for Grace Curley today. And this is the segment that we end Fridays on. It's, I want to make sure I said this right. Woke or joke.
Yes, it is woke or joke.
I always want to say that other thing.
Yeah, go broke.
Yeah.
No, this is woke or joke.
We got it.
Yeah, we'll get to that after the poll.
It's fun. We do the we do the poll question first. Am I reading this or?
Yeah, you read that and then.
I'm reading the wrong one. This is my first day, folks. I'm sorry. Today's poll question is brought to you by J.J. Manning Auctioneers. Whether residential, commercial, or land, J.J. Manning can get your property sold now. To learn more, contact Charlie Gill at 800-521-0111 or jjmanning.com. With over 16,000 sales and satisfied clients, you can be the next one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want an
This
audit?
is Matt, everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt.
I'm not new, but I'm new. Do you want an audit of the Massachusetts state legislature? Yes or no?
How's that going, Matt?
Yes has a 98% vote total, and no has 2%.
I think we got another troll.
Who are those
voting now.
2%? I want to know. Are they trolls? Are they state legislators? Or
how many more no votes, Mr. Speaker?
Yeah, and there was that suggestion it could have been Grace or Taylor.
Could be both of them now.
Yeah, could be both. I think they have more important things to be focused on right now.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
Changing diapers and bless them.
Absolutely. But we got something more important to get focused on.
Right.
It is time for woke or joke. Matt, play that funky music.
Everything woke turns to okay?
I started a joke.
Pink-haired wokers.
The word woke means loser.
But the joke was on me. Oh, no.
And Mike, as this is your first woke or joke, welcome. Everybody knows how this works. We will read you a headline. You have to decide, is it woke as in it's real, or is it a joke as one of us made it up? And woke or joke is brought to you by Aviva Trattoria. A gift card to Aviva Trattoria is the perfect gift for any occasion. Go to avivatrattoria.com to get your gift card and to find out where they are near you. They always have nice seasonal menu items. I still love the short rib risotto and the farmhouse pizza. Those are my two go-to suggestions.
You sold me. I'm all about the food. I'm down.
They are fantastic. That's avivatrattoria.com. All right, who should we start with?
Who's first? Who's been waiting the longest?
Looks like Doc. Doc has been waiting the longest.
Gotta go with Doc.
All right, Doc, are you ready for your headline?
Yes, I am, and Mike, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much, Doc.
All right, Doc, here is your headline. Black swimmers teach others amid history of aquatic segregation.
Woke.
You are correct, sir. That is indeed woke. Yes, this story comes to us from CBS News. At 42, Tamika Bostic decided she wanted to learn how to swim and sign her teenager up for lessons too, because she grew up in the New York City housing projects and didn't have much access to pools in the community, so she didn't have a chance to learn, and she says she wants to break the stigma that black people can't swim, and this is a way to do it. And CBS does go into the segregation of swimming, the segregation in swimming history that I think, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Biden single-handedly solved as the only white lifeguard in the black pool.
Is that Corn Pop?
Yeah, when Corn Pop,
That's a funny story.
Joe and Corn Pop, saving racial relations right there.
Corn Pop sounds pretty tough, actually. I don't know.
I have it on good authority. He was a bad dude.
Yeah.
But, all right. Let's go to Ed next. Good old standby Connecticut Ed. Ed, are you ready for your headline? Ed, are you with us? All right, let's put Ed on hold and see if we can get Ed back. Let's try Kevin. Kevin, are you ready for your headline?
Good afternoon, guys.
Afternoon, Kevin. All right, Kevin, here is your headline. Forest Green Rovers announces 2-season training kit partnership with vegan trademark.
Gotta be woke.
That is woke. Indeed, you are correct, sir.
These guys are good.
Not a joke. Not a joke.
They are catching on. Yeah, Forest Green Rovers is a football club, and they have for their next 2 seasons their training kits, which is like the fancy European name for a soccer jersey shirt is kit. They will have the logo of the Vegan Society, vegan trademark on there. That's the first such partnership we know of that has vegan soccer all over it. So, yeah, there you go.
I hope those soccer balls aren't made out of, you know what?
Yeah, it's synthetic leather.
I love animals. I will say that. I do love the animals.
Yeah, no, I got nothing against the animals. I got something against soccer. I played soccer as a kid, and I wasn't particularly great at it. So maybe I could run, but that was about it. Anyway, there may be something there.
I feel you. I was a soccer player too, and I wasn't that good. Yeah, I was the same boat.
All right, Ed's back. Hey, all right, Ed. Are you with us, Ed?
I'm here, brother. Thank you.
All right, Ed. Nice to hear from you. All right, Ed. Here is your headline. Meat-eating pets are creating furry carbon footprints.
Oh, boy.
Joke.
You're correct, sir. That is a joke. Well done, Ed. Man, I'm not doing great.
These guys are good. I thought that was a real one. I thought that was real.
They're sussing me out today.
I thought that was yeah, these guys are good.
There. All right. Bill, you are next on Woke or Joke. Are you ready for your headline, Bill?
I'll try to keep it rolling.
All right, Bill. Here we go. Trans Statue of Liberty painting heads to Baltimore after D.C. censorship claims.
That's got to be woke.
Yeah, you're right, sir. That is woke. You can't make this up.
4 for 4 today.
Not a joke. Not a joke.
I know, right? So after canceling the mid-career retrospective of Amy Sherrill at the Smithsonian, she will now host an exhibition at the Baltimore Museum of Art. Sherrill, 51, who is known for her simplified realism portraits, which depict African Americans in everyday settings, gained prominence in 2018 after painting the portrait of former First Lady Michelle Obama. So I don't know if you remember that, the presidential portraits of Michelle and Barack Obama, where it looked like he was in front of it looked like pot leaves, but it was like some kind of ivy, something
That's
or
right.
other.
Yes, I do.
And then I think they but she's the one that painted the Michelle Obama in the green dress and everything. So yeah, after being censored in D.C., her Trans Statue of Liberty painting is heading to Baltimore Museum of Art.
I guess they're cool in Baltimore. They don't mind it.
They do not. Baltimore is not D.C., apparently.
It's pretty close, though. I mean,
they're within driving distance.
Yes.
If you're Joe Biden, they're within training distance of a $60 zillion bridge in Baltimore. We do have a couple lines open if you want to get in. 844-500-4242. If you want to participate in Woke or Joke, we do have a little more time and a little more headlines. And Mike, you know what I'm going to do now as we wait for the calls? Since it's your first Woker joke, I'm going to let you play Woker joke. You have to tell me, is this
This is
woke?
going to be a lot of pressure because these guys, it's 4 for 4 so far. Oh, man. All right.
Unfortunately, you do not qualify for the gift card. But
this is all about bragging rights. It's even more important than the gift card.
All right. So here is your headline, Mike. Influencer apologizes for cultural appropriation after wearing a T-shirt with a non-Indigenous font.
Non-Indigenous? What is that? I mean, I'm just going to say that's woke because you know what? I feel like I'm a YouTuber and people always want us to apologize. There's always like every show I did something wrong. So I'm going to say that's woke.
I'm sorry. That's a joke.
Oh, God.
Yep. The non-Indigenous.
By the way, that was a joke. That's not true.
The non-Indigenous font. You were correct to be suspicious of such things.
I just figured if it was silly and there was a YouTuber or social media person being forced to apologize for something.
That is the peril of Woker joke. The devil is in the details. All right, that was Woker joke, which is brought to you by AvivaTrattoria.com. A gift card to Aviva Trattoria is the perfect gift for any occasion. Go to AvivaTrattoria.com to get a gift card and find a location near you. That does it for me. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you so
Leave
much.
one more time for Howie Carr.
Yeah. Howie Carr coming up. 2 p.m.
And we'll have the car crossover next.
The Grace Curley Show will return.
Keep your car, truck, or SUV in tip-top running condition and get your oil changed. My friends at JB Auto Care in Weymouth are offering $20 off an oil change, conventional or synthetic. The waiting room is clean and the service is excellent. Need repairs? I count on JB Auto. They offer Saturday service, free loaner cars, and a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on all repairs. Call today and let them know Grace sent you, or book online at jbautomotive.com. JB Auto Care, Route 3A in North Weymouth.
Hey folks, it's Howie Carr, and if you're looking to stay sharp, energized, and ahead of the game, you've got to check out what our friends at All Family Pharmacy are doing with methylene blue. That's right, this isn't just some old lab chemical. It's being used in new treatment for energy, memory, and brain health at All Family Pharmacy. They're compounding it safely, professionally, and right here in the USA. So if you're feeling low on energy, dealing with brain fog, or just want to feel like your sharper, younger self again, methylene blue might be the answer. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Howie and use my code Howie10 to get a special discount. And it's not just methylene blue. They've got over 200 medications available, so you can choose exactly what you need. They work with licensed doctors to get the prescriptions safely and ship it straight to your door. That's how healthcare should be. Simple, direct, and on your terms. Again, go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Howie and use my code Howie10 to get 10% off your order today. Tell them Howie sent you, and they'll take care of you.
One of the most common questions that JJ Manning auctioneers get asked is, why would someone ever auction their real estate? When you sign on with JJ Manning auctioneers, you're listing your property for an auction sale. In a JJ Manning auction, you bypass the exhausting negotiations and you bypass all the weasel clauses. You sell your property as is and contingency free. This means no contingencies for inspections, for financing, and for anything else that could change the deal. This is especially huge in Massachusetts, since all traditional listings will soon be required to have a home inspection before closing. For the straightforward, no-nonsense thinker, like my listeners, auction is the most efficient way to sell your valuable real estate. In a JJ Manning auction, you set the terms, you sell contingency-free, and you pick the day it closes. Here are some upcoming auctions from Grace listeners. September 17th, a home in the Oak Bluff section of the Vineyard. So if you have commercial, residential, or land to sell, contact Charlie Gill at 800-521-0111 or visit jjmanning.com. Call Charlie today and mark it sold.
Hi, it's Silver Dave at local Silver Mint in Ware, New Hampshire, where we have the best selection and the lowest prices on the most wonderful items in the world: gold, silver, and platinum. This year, gold has already gone up 30%, silver 25%, and platinum 50%, and it's just getting started. If you haven't already been stacking precious metals, it's time to get going, and we can help. If you are new, don't worry. Our knowledgeable sales staff will help you select the best items to accomplish your goals. If you are already an experienced stacker, then you will love our selection and prices. Additionally, try our very own silver bits, perfect for barter, and just 49 cents over spot, made in New Hampshire, USA. Thanks for listening, and see you soon at local Silver Mint in Ware, New Hampshire. Stack it up.
This is the Grace Curley Show.
Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show. This is Mike Crawford filling in for Grace Curley. Had a great time today. Thank you so much for producing, Jared, and everyone who's been at home watching or in the car. Thank you so much. Global unrest is battering the food supply chain and the energy markets. It's incumbent on you to be prepared. Get ready with ReadyWise. Go to ReadyWise.com and use Howie10 to get 10% off your next purchase. And now we have Howie Carr. Hey, Howie, how you doing today?
Very good, Michael. Very good.
I got to say, I'm a little bit nervous. I got Howie Carr on the line and doing my first crossover ever with Howie Carr.
You're doing fine, Michael.
Am I doing
I've been
okay?
listening to the show. No, everything's good. You know, and I think that 1.4 million is that is the ultimate lowball number. You know, I didn't even put in my column today. What about the fact that in addition to all those experts and special prosecutors, they've also had Lally and Elizabeth McLaughlin on the payroll. They make $149,000 and $142,000 respectively, and they've been tied up with this thing for what? Probably close to 3 years now. I mean, that's another $1 million right there.
Exactly. The numbers just keep going up and up and up. I mean, some of the line items there too were eye-opening about how much Aperture got paid. Yeah. But you know, even the little things like they were looking into one of the witnesses' wife's social media posts. Did you see that one?
Right. Well, as I said too, you know, I think people have tended to forget the rubber ducky investigations.
That's right.
Multiple rubber ducky investigations. The Canton PD had this guy on the rubber ducky investigation for 6 months, 5 search warrants, 2 readings of Miranda rights, a multi-departmental raid on a guy's trash can in Stoughton to check out his Amazon deliveries. I mean the whole thing is it's insane what they're doing, and now they have all these murder cases potentially compromised because of Proctor.
Yeah, that's the worst thing too. These murderers may get some leniency. One of them's been bailed out. And I agree. Like they treated the Duck King, Rich, like he was La Costa Nostra, and they even spend money like reviewing my YouTube channel because I talked to Rich and they transcribed like the whole interview with him. They spent a lot of money on nothing, and these murderers may get away with it now.
Yeah, like I said, he's got $420,000 left in his account. Meatball Morrissey. What? Can you please turn it over just to the Treasury? I know Norfolk County. It's not really like a line item on the county. It's the state budget, but still, it's an insult to everybody who lives in Norfolk County that you wasted all this money this way.
Absolutely. Did you see Djuna Perkins is doing a FOIA request to see if any non-prosecutions were, pay to play? She wants to see who's been non-prosecuted and who maybe made a campaign donation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's how about this guy O'Connell, the developer? I think he's dead now in Quincy. They brought in this. He was a big time friend of Meatballs, and he was charged with all kinds of horrible things for cocaine and a young girl and all this stuff who was killed in an automobile accident. So she couldn't testify against him, and he brought in a special prosecutor for that case. Several years ago now. I mean, how many special prosecutors has this guy had? I mean, I guess, you rarely hear about a special prosecutor in other counties, but I mean, this guy's, Norfolk County is awash in special prosecutors.
Yeah, he's got a lot. He's got a lot of press. It's like look like Ted Kennedy. He used to have some mistresses. This guy has special prosecutors instead. It's
Yeah, and they're all his buddies. Brennan was another guy in the Bulger family, you might say. And Triple Dip Cosgrove is another one of these hacks from the DA's office back in Delahunt days when they were fixing cases for Whitey Bulger, putting Fred Weichel in prison for 35 years for a murder he didn't commit to get him off the streets in Southie. I mean, it is so appalling. And Triple Dip also let a guy go who, allowed him to, appeal a case. I think his name is Schnichter or something like that.
Yeah.
They kidnapped the guy in Canton of all places.
That's right.
Canton, and they never, he let him go, and he spent an extra 4 years on the lam. There was a guy named George Hamilton who was shot, an organized crime hit by a Boston police officer named Bill Stewart. And no arrests were ever made. It was a Boston police officer. He did it. So you can't prosecute a Boston cop. Right?
Never. They're protected. Yeah,
not in Norfolk County.
No, with Michael Morrissey as DA, definitely not.
Yeah, a lot of this is going to be in my book. I bet some of this stuff, Freddie Weichel, the George Hamilton hit, Cosgrove letting this guy go for 4 years after he was convicted of murder. I mean, a lot of this stuff is going to be in my new book, which is called Mass Corruption, and you can order it right now at HowieCarrShow.com. Click on store, pre-order right now. It'll be out in about a month, and you get a $5 discount on board.
That's it. What's on the show today, Howie?
We're going to start off with talking about there have been 2 arrests in Washington, D.C. in the murder of the UMass senior, Erica Jackham. They were just arrested today. It's a horrific case. I was just speaking to his mother. She's kind of broken up. She's saying I just hung up with her, and she said she's going to have a Narragansett and try to compose herself. So I'm probably not going to speak to her today, but she may be on with Janine Pirro later. We'll have some sound from her, but we'll be talking about that case, a horrific murder. And this is it's one of the reasons why they surged the District of Columbia, just out of control. These are teenagers. They were aiming at they were aiming at another teenager that they shot in the spine. They shot her son 4 times. A couple of women were injured by flying glass and plexiglass. Just a horrific crime. And again, the Democrats have been just turning the other way. I mean, you got to give Muriel Bowser credit, the mayor. She finally said, she didn't really want to say we're glad, but she did say we're glad that they're doing something.
Something's got to be done. Feel bad.
So
for
you
that
did a
mom.
good job today,
Thank you.
Mike, and you've passed the test. You can come back again.
Well, thank you so much, Howie. I was hoping you would say that.
All right, okay, and stay tuned for me, and we will be right back. And Mike, you close it out.
I want to thank Howie Carr, and thank you everybody who's been watching today. Like Howie said, hopefully I'll be back. Mike Crawford, check it out on the Grace Curley Show.
I can't remember crazier times in my lifetime. Now more than ever, expect the unexpected with ReadyWise. At ReadyWise, their mission is to bring peace of mind to their consumers by offering high-quality food and gear at a reasonable price. ReadyWise relentlessly pursues solutions